So you're psychic. What now? Hi everybody, my name is Bradley with Wildfire Earth Reiki. I am the Wildfire Earth Reiki Master, a shaman that will help you get through the dark times in your life and also offer healing, and I'm an intuitive psychic medium. So let's dig right in. In the last few videos with the Sensual experience about spiritual gifts, we talked about how everyone is intrinsically psychic. So now you know you're psychic, and you even probably categorized what type of gift you have of one of the spiritual gifts, either clairalience, clairvoyance, claircognizance, or clairsentience. Any of those are all valid techniques of picking up cosmic messages from spirit, from earthly spirits, from the fairy realms, the astral, and even here on the physical plane, possibly through telepathy and different things like that. So that's what we're going to dive into now, is these gifts, how they manifest, and how you can really become the master of your own mind and spiritual path. Whew, I look a little tired. I had to have my glasses on earlier because apparently whenever my allergies are like this, I can't see. But that leads me right into my next segue. What a great segue, is that we're going to be talking about how you can see with your mind. So a lot of you have probably watched the popular movie Doctor Strange with Benedict Cumberbatch and Tilda Swinton and a lot of other amazing actors in the Marvel universe. Now, there's one character in there that we can kind of identify with in this, that she says an amazing quote. It's Tilda Swinton's character of the Immortal One, as she's trying to teach Doctor Strange to embrace his powers and really show him who he truly is. Now, Doctor Strange is interesting because he is a Marvel character, but he is not a mutant. He is actually just a normal, average Joe doctor. I mean, yes, he's probably way more intelligent and educated than many of us out there in the world, because he's a doctor and he had to learn all those things for surgery, and something goes wrong and he gets hurt. So he seeks out the help of the Immortal One, and that's played by Tilda Swinton's character. And she asks him to open your eye. Now, obviously, she's not talking about his actual eyes, his physical eyes. What she's talking about is a body part called the pituitary. What she is actually talking about is a body part called the pineal gland, or the third eye, as known in some more esoteric or witchcraft or even Eastern tradition religions. They call it the third eye. Now, this has meanings way back into human culture and religion, all the way back to the Zoroastrians and the Sumerians, and it just goes on and on and on. So this is nothing new. This is nothing that is going to be shocking to probably any of you that found this video, but it's very important to know what you're working with, because I feel like, especially whenever you're learning to use your psychic abilities, so much of it is about focus and awareness, where your awareness is seated. Now, a lot of us throughout our day-to-day lives, we have our focus kind of here out in front of us so that we don't run into things. I mean, it makes sense. It keeps us alive and safe in the physical world. And mostly we're using our physical eyes to project our awareness outwards, to take in reality. But what if you want to see something that is not within your scope of vision? Well, that's where visualization and focus and awareness comes into play. Because the exercise I'm going to teach you is something that I have taught many of my first-time students whenever they're studying the craft, or they're studying shamanism, or they're studying Reiki, or whether they just want to brush up on some basic skills because they're having issues with their rituals, or they're having intents that aren't working out perfectly, even if you're just practicing the secret or mindfulness or even meditation, this simple exercise really is going to be the most profound and biggest asset you can have as someone who is working with their psychic ability. Because this exercise is all about learning to visualize and see things with your third eye, opening that eye. So by opening that eye and bringing awareness to it, it begins to stay open more and more. And it's like a muscle. You have to train it. So that means you could be gifted naturally with it, but obviously if you're not using it a lot, or if you haven't been practicing with it, just like an instrument or riding a bike or playing a specific sports or even dancing, you can get rusty, or this can atrophy. Muscles can atrophy. Your pineal gland is no different. You have to work that muscle and get it pumping again, getting it alive and helping it to grow in strength and power. So what you do, the simple visualization that we're going to talk about is, I like to call it the apple focus. Now, I talked about this in one of my videos, but I've recently been reading through Laurie Cabot's Book of Visions, co-authored by Christopher Pinsack, one of my favorite occult authors that really brought me in, helped me learn how visualization is so important. And I've seen this visualization in many of his books, many other books, but I feel like Laurie Cabot's Book of Visions really brought it to my mind where it kind of clicked. And I mean, it had clicked for me, but there's a difference between knowing something logically and then being able to explain it to people so that they can understand it. So this is great that it is also helping me connect with more material to teach my students, and help myself, and even, make my practice take off in my visualization and even my mediumship abilities. Because people think that whenever you're psychic and you say you can see ghosts or you can see spirits, that you can actually see them. That's not actually how it works. Being psychic and having clairvoyance is as literally as easy as daydreaming. Now, a lot of us do this unconsciously with visualization and practicing contemplation, which contemplation is just mindfulness and meditation while focusing on a specific thought or a mantra or even an image. Okay, so that is what I'm going to be using, that definition of contemplation, throughout the rest of this video. So just so we can all be on the same page here, so we can understand the same vocabulary. You have to realize that I've been practicing these things for so many years that sometimes I take for granted the vocabulary I use. So if you ever get confused or you need something explained, please feel free to ask down in the comments, because I would be more than happy to explain it to you, or even break down what I said, or even say it in a different way if you didn't understand. Because as a teacher and as a healer, it's my job to bring you information. And if you're not understanding that, it's doing neither of us any good. So I want to help as many of you as I possibly can really tweak your psychic abilities and go to the next level. So this visualization is very simple, and we're going to call it the apple visualization. It starts with getting into a different state of consciousness. Now, normally we're operating in regular reality in alpha state. So that's our alpha state of consciousness. We're aware, is basically what that means, is that we are aware, we are seeing our physical reality, and we're kind of with it. We're not asleep, we're not daydreaming, and we're also not meditating. So now the next step is beta. So it goes down. So beta is kind of where we are if you're zoned out watching TV, or you're really pulled into a book, or you're watching the preacher talk up on Sundays during a sermon, and it just kind of fades out and all you can hear is his voice kind of droning. That's the beta state. Oh, also, a lot of us get into that if we go on long drives and it's familiar. autopilot. That's kind of the beta state. Your brain is in an autopilot, a little bit more susceptible state of consciousness. So that's kind of the state that you want to go down to for this visualization. Some people can take it lower and even go to the delta state, which is deep sleep. Well, there's the next one, which I can't remember. I think it's theta. Theta or delta and then theta, or theta and delta. I can't remember. I'm sorry. But one of those two is the next stage, which is like sleep and REM cycle sleep, where you're actually dreaming, but not a lot of us are aware during this state. And then the next one is delta, where you're basically like completely unaware. There's nothing very much going on in your brain. And a lot of the time, some people that can achieve this state during meditation, where they can stay aware, is where they actually have huge spiritual, explosive, profound experiences where they, you know, meet God, or they see the entire world and everything connects. Some of us dip down into that. You know, these states of consciousness are like waves. We dip in and out of them at different various times and stages during the day, and it's our brain's way of kind of cooling itself and warming itself, because there's a lot of activity going on up there. And the moment you start doing more psychic stuff and more exercises, your brain, you'll notice that your brain kind of evens out a little bit more. So there's not very many, not a big differentiation between your awareness and your unconscious awareness that you get from the beta state. So how do you get into beta state? That's kind of an important thing to ask, right? So the easiest way to do it for me is just to close my eyes, relax, and especially make sure that you relax all of your muscles, because you kind of want to trick your body into thinking you're about to go to sleep. And so you relax all of your muscles. You can even start from your top of your head, you know, roll your neck, get those neck muscles relaxed, scrunch all the muscles up in your face, and then relax them. Just, if it helps, you can even touch, because some people are very, very keen on touch. Roll your shoulders. Ooh, we got a cat parade. Sorry. So roll your shoulders so just they can relax. Place them in a nice stance and posture. You'll want to take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. That kind of gets those muscles in your chest and your abdomen relaxed. Relax your hips, relax your legs, and then wiggle your toes. Get those nice and relaxed. And as you're doing this, this is slowly taking you down to the relaxation of the beta area. To even deepen that a little further, to kind of dip into kind of a semi-conscious, but also a little dipping into your unconscious mind, you're going to start at the number 12, and you count down from 12 to 1. And what I do is I visualize, once I've relaxed my whole body and done any protection things that I feel like I need to do, especially if I'm going to be journeying or doing anything deeper than visualization, this is the time to do your protections and visualize them around once you're relaxed and kind of in the state of the moment. Then you close your eyes, and now this is where things differ depending on if you're clairvoyant or if you're clairsentient, or how you daydream or how you visualize. So this will be important for you to figure out. And if it's something you struggle with, this exercise is definitely going to help you cultivate that ability a little more, especially with practice, okay? So close our eyes, and then on your eyes, we've all been to a movie theater, visualize a silver screen, okay? So visualize that rectangular screen, big, like you're either standing on the stage looking at the screen, or you can even be seated in an audience and looking at the screen, okay? So you're going to visualize that in your mind, almost like you're bringing it up in a daydream. But instead of unconsciously daydreaming, we are consciously daydreaming with awareness and intent. Now Set this intent as you see the number 12 on the screen, that you are going to go down into your beta awareness so that you can cultivate some of your psychic ability. Set that intent that I am psychic, I am a powerful seer, and I am visualizing truth. Okay? So set that intention with the 12, and as you see the 12, begin a slow countdown. And as you do, breathe in and out, just relaxing from 12 to 11 to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it helps if you say it like that. And it helps if you relax your mind like you're talking to someone and you're trying to lull them to sleep. You're basically trying to trick your body into thinking it's almost going into a sleep state, but you're aware, you are in control, you are in the driver's seat. So once you've done the relaxation part, you've counted down from 12 to 1, and you're in this kind of calming, relaxing state of mind. Now is the time that we are going to visualize an apple. And I loved the way Lori Cabot's book, The Book of Visions, put this, is see any apple you desire. This can be a red apple, a green apple, a yellow, golden, delicious apple, and know that even though you're visualizing it, this apple is real somewhere, on some plane of existence, on some realm of consciousness. This apple is a real apple. Now, don't be upset if you can't visualize the apple perfectly. Sometimes it's a real apple with it's cloudy or there's some mist around it. Sometimes it's crystal clear. It's just how we tune in. And it can even be a sketch of an apple, or it can be a cartoon apple that's 3D and you can move it around like a computer program. But either way, visualize your apple. Now, the apple is a really important symbol in the craft and in shamanism, in Christianity, and in many other religions, even going all the way back to Greco-Roman mythology. The apple was known as a symbol for wisdom, for spirituality, for power, and even sexuality. And it's especially a good symbol for the pentacle, which is a 5-pointed star drawn to represent the 5 elements, or the 4 elements in spirit. So you have fire, water, earth, and air, and then the 5th element of spirit. So those are the 4 points, the 4 bottom points of the star, with the top point being this point of spirit, and it's bringing all of those together. Now, if you slice that apple in half, what do you have? You have the 5 seeds that create a star, right? So it's very symbolic in this work, and it's very symbolic of when you're visualizing this, you're connecting with the energies of wisdom and spirituality and the ancestors who believed in places like Avalon, the Isle of Apples, and so many more beautiful and powerful energies that we are bringing back into the world when we tap into and visualize this apple. So you don't have to think of all of that, because it's a little distracting to do when you're trying to visualize an apple. But just know that those are the energies you are tapping into. You are basically biting into the tree of knowledge, and you're taking the fruit into yourself by visualizing this. And it's helping to cultivate wisdom and understanding, because this is also kind of the springboard to visualizing yourself into a place or seeing what is happening on a different plane or dimension, or even here in the physical world by doing remote viewing or things like this. This is the visualization you use. So we have our apple floating in front of us. Now, what I want you to do to make this visual as real as possible, in your mind, see your mental hand grab the apple. take it, look at the apple, turn it around in your hands, look at the texture, feel the texture. Is it soft? Is it marred? Are there scars? Are there bruises on the apple? Whatever. I mean, this could be a real apple. This could be sitting at a grocery store in Walmart right now. We don't know. But does it have a stem? Does it not have a stem? Does it have a leaf? When you plucked the apple, did it come off of a tree, or was it just floating there in the air? There's so many different ways for this to happen. Either way is perfect. Just know that if you are seeing the apple, if you are mentally feeling the apple, you are feeling that apple's energy and its aura, and you're connecting with these energies and psychic energies that go back for millennia of humans doing this. Now imagine life without television. This gift would have been a godsend. I mean, who would want to just sit around and stare at their family for months on end in the winter with you're running low on candles, you're hungry because there wasn't a huge harvest? This gift was essential for our ancestors. And so when we look back and we read all of these nursery rhymes and old stories and mythologies and tales, and we wonder, how did they cultivate all of this? Where did they get these ideas? It was that third eye. By tapping into this modern world and growing up in this modern world, we lose so much of our we lose so much of our ability to tap into the power of our third eye because we let it go to sleep by watching television and being pulled into video games, because a lot of the times we're placing our awareness into the television or into the video game instead of within ourselves. So it becomes harder and harder to pull back into here, into ourselves, into our bodies, and be present. And so practicing this visualization can also be a means of counterbalancing ADHD and attention, anxiety, and other things like that, and also helps alleviate stresses and kind of that anxious feeling that you get if you can visualize calming things, calming pictures, and actually place your awareness there. This is the springboard to all of that. So you have the apple in your hand. Now, you've touched it. We're using different bits of our senses to really bring this vision home. The next level from touch would be smell or even taste. So smell the apple. You can cut it open and really smell that crisp freshness of an apple. Is it sweet? Is it tart? What type of apple is this? What's it like? What are your perceptions? That's an excellent way to even help you create better whenever you're trying to do psychic visions for clients or friends or family or people that need your help, or even in a psychic investigation where you're trying to remote view to somewhere. You want to have the ability to really be there in that place, in that time, and see what happened, feel what happened, taste, smell. All of those things can be really helpful clues in letting people know that this is authentic, this vision is real, and you're actually experiencing something with extra sensory perception. So now you've got your apple. You may even have 2 slices. Now, so that we can take this in strides, don't be upset if the vision is lost or if you get distracted. Just bring your focus back to the apple and you're right back there. It's okay. There's no failure in this, I promise. It took me years and years and years of daydreaming and thinking, and we're back. Okay, so I know it hasn't been but like a few milliseconds for you guys, but it's been about 30 minutes for me. The cats went crazy, my partner came home. Whoa. So, okay. So it took me years of daydreaming, visualization to really actually master this skill. And it might not take you years, you might be exceptionally gifted, or it might just click for you because you've been daydreaming your whole life. And once you make the connection that you can do it consciously and with awareness, it is so easy and simple that you almost feel like you're cheating because it's so easy. It's like, oh, this is what they were talking about. This is what books are written about. This is what people have researched and studied and developed since the beginning of time. I mean, it's so simple. So you've got the apple and you've got your halves possibly. Now the trick is to put the apple back exactly how you found it. So in your mind, just put the apple back, 2 halves back in their hole again. Put it back up on the screen, and then you're going to erase the screen with your hand, just like you're erasing a whiteboard. You can even use an eraser if you need to, whatever helps you. I just use my hand because I'm not bougie. I'm just I just wipe it off and it's gone. So then we're left with this silver screen again, right? And we're standing in front of the screen and we're looking out. Now, what you want to do is count up from 1 to 12. And you do that a little faster and you bring your awareness more into it. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I like to say it with a smile. A lot of the times it helps if you actually speak this countdown because it helps to activate the physical body, to help get the vibrations back in, to call yourself back in. Now, I like to do what I call sweeping, which is where I sweep my energy down from head down to my abdomen and kind of sweep out, like you're sweeping yourself off or brushing yourself off. That's going to negate any negative energies you might have picked up, any little hitchhikers or whatever. You're going to be wiping it off and then see it fall away and be absorbed by the earth. Because even if they are lower vibrational energies and they might cause mischief or harm to you, that doesn't mean they aren't needed in this world and that their energies aren't an intrinsic part of the universe. Now, low vibrations are wonderful in earth element because the earth element helps use those low vibrations to create rocks, soil, decomposition, and even help trees and plants grow. So it is wonderful to send that back to the earth and give it to it with gratitude and thankfulness. And then you're negating any fear of bringing anything back into this realm because it is released right back into the earth so that it can be healthy and helpful there. Okay, so now we're back here. What's the best thing to do after you've done the exercise? For me, I like to write it down in my book. I have kind of a little, I use this as like kind of a spell book, as a dream journal, different things. And I like to just write down the date I did the exercise, kind of what happened, visualizations wise, what details I picked up, as much as I can remember whenever I first get back. Now this is going to help to integrate your unconscious vision into the conscious, into reality. And this is also a big step on being a psychic medium and being psychic and doing any type of intuitive readings. It's bringing the unconscious messages into reality so that they can be cemented down and you can actually really help people by writing. Whenever you go through a vision, knowing that you're going to have to write it down, you tend to be more perceptive. It's almost like you're going to have a pop quiz at the end of this, so you really need to pay attention to the video. It's like in school, whenever you really had to pay attention to the video, knowing that you were going to have a pop quiz on it afterwards. Okay, so it's like that. Just know that you're going to write this down whenever you get back to reality, so you become more aware and perceptive of what's going on. Now, I hope you have fun with this apple visualization and it helps you connect. If you get bored doing the apple, or you've done this for a couple of weeks and you're really starting to get adept at it, start doing different objects, places. Even get permission first But especially get permission first, but try to visualize people and what they're doing in their environment. Write it down. And if you're working with a partner, call them and be like, hey, I noticed you were drinking some coffee and your left leg was bothering you, etc., etc., etc. Write down, tell them the details of your visions, and then compare notes to see what was actually happening and if you're getting insightful messages. You will. And what's crazy is the more and more you do this, the more clear your visions will become and the more perceptive you will become. Remember, it's exercising that muscle. This is basically your foundation for any psychic work you will do with clairvoyance or clairsentience for the rest of your life. This is one of those things that if you ever think you're losing the ability or you haven't been using it in a while, you can practice this visualization for a few days or a couple of weeks and get right back on the horse. Okay? So I hope you guys all have an excellent day. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe down below. Share this video with all of your friends on all the things because I want more and more people to understand that we're all psychic and so are you. It's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Bradley with Wildfire Earth Reiki. And remember, as you raise your vibe, you heal the tribe. Blessings.